So in Nephi chapter 5, Sariah complains. So in verse 2, Sariah thinks that her sons have died, right? Or had thought. Nephi's explaining what she had thought while they were on their mission to go get the breastplates. So in verse 2 it says, "For she had supposed that we had perished in the wilderness. And she had also complained against my father, telling him that he was a visionary man, saying, Behold, thou hast led us forth from the land of our inheritance, and my sons are no more, and we perish in the wilderness." And so I think it's interesting that the complaint is that he's a visionary man, and I think that the culture at the time is that they had lots of people claiming to receive visions. It wasn't like nowadays where people who receive visions, well, I think it was like nowadays where people who see visions are sometimes perceived as a little kooky, a little bit off. But even in chapter 1 of First Nephi, they talk about that there were many prophets, right? In verse 4, in the reign of Zedekiah, there came many prophets prophesying that the people must repent. I think that it's just interesting to think of a culture where there's lots of people who are claiming to receive visions and lots of people who are claiming to receive inspiration from God, and kind of the perception that comes across, because lots of Latter-day Saints probably would aspire to be a visionary man, would aspire to be a visionary man or woman, a person who receives communications from God. But you can tell here that Sariah is not saying it as a compliment. She's saying it kind of as, you're one of those kooky guys who makes people do crazy things or does crazy things himself, and makes their lives harder. And I'm sure that lots of visionary people do, and Lehi does make his life a lot harder. And that's something that Laman and Lemuel can see clearly, that he's making his life a whole lot harder than it would be. Now, it's probably making it better than when Babylon comes and attacks, and it makes Lehi have a bigger impact on the world. But I think that the society doesn't always look highly on people who receive communication from God. They view those people as kooky. They view those people as perhaps dangerous. And there's a reason why they get stoned a lot and why people try to kill them. It's because they don't like them. And that's a real thing. If someone is receiving communication from God and acting on it, it can cause problems with a society that is wicked.